What is up guys? Welcome to another deck profile. This time we're taking a look at Youthberk, one of the fan favorite decks to come out of set 13. So let's get straight into it. Starting us off, we're going to go into the right deck. Of course, you have to start off with Youth. It's thematic. You can change it up if you want to, since this Youth doesn't have any impact on the others. When the grade 1 Youth is rode upon by the grade 2, you can pay a Soul Blast, check the top 3 cards of your deck, add a Youthberk card to your hand, or you superior call a grade 2 or less rearguard. The other cards go to the bottom of the deck, so that's perfect. You want to go with the ride line. The grade 2 Youthberk, when he is rode upon by grade 3 Youthberk, you can pay a counter blast and add a card that is grade 2 or greater from your drop and put it back into your hand. So that's a bit of recursion. You can discard your handy units or units that you use for certain effects. That's a little tidbit for later. So if you have any full blasts or any other cards that are grade 2 or higher, which would be your Youthberks, you can just add it back. His other ability is when he's boosted, you can pay a Soul Blast to give him +5. You're never using this. Youthberk Skyfall Arms himself. That's your main unit that you want to ride into. He gives you your Revol dress abilities. His first ability is of course his Revol dress. After that he attacked, you can take a Youthberk with the Revol form ability and ride it, and it loses its drives, but you know, you have units that negate that. And then of course you once per turn act, discard a card, check the top 3, and you can add a Revol form unit or call something, and then the other cards go to the bottom of the deck. But it does suck if you of course check triggers. You want to put those triggers to the bottom of the deck, then you want something to search your deck so that you can shuffle them back through. Now that's our ride line. We'll get started with the grade 3s. Starting us off of course with your Persona rides. You can't search them out except with the grade 1, but it's pretty good. Getting your Persona rides is pretty handy for those extra kill turns. That's pretty much all you want from that. And then of course the main man we build around for this kind of entire strategy is Youthberk Revol form Full Blast. Of course, his final ability is the same as all other Youthberks at the end of the turn. You know, he goes back to the Skyfall Arms in rest position. But his first skill is, if you get Revol dressed, so through your Skyfall Arms, you counterblast 1, and you do as much of the skill as possible. And if you have all of them, your front row gains +15k. Now, if you have Zest, you get a crit. If you have Gust, you get a drive. If you have Tempest, you put something to the bottom of the deck. That's pretty good, but that +15k, that's what we're going for. There's high-end numbers, the pressure, the extra drive. You want to get this honestly on your first grade 3 turn. For that end, we need to get those Revol forms into your soul. What Revol forms? I'm glad you asked. Tempest, 3 copies. With the deck increase, it's better to have more consistency with your Revol forms, so I added in an extra copy. This could be an extra copy of Zest, but honestly, if you end up bricking, I'd rather see another Tempest that I can use than go for Zest. That also does mean I'm running an extra Gust. Same situation, if I end up bricking, I'd rather see another Gust than Zest. But if you feel more comfortable getting a second Zest, you definitely should. Here he is, 1 copy of Zest. Probably all already know. You never want to go into Zest. Gust at least gives you power and an extra drive. And Tempest is pretty amazing. Like, if you have to go into Tempest, I don't think anybody would be complaining at all. For our grade 2s, we're running 4 copies of Fergosa. So when she's placed on rearguard, if you have a Vanguard with Youth, you can pay a Soul Blast, search your deck or drop for a Revol form. You can put it to Soul. If you search your deck, you shuffle, which allows you to put those triggers that you put to bottom back into circulation. If you have all 3 Revol forms, you can pay a Soul Blast of a non-Revol form card, and then basically you get a draw. You never use the draw, but you know, could be handy. And when you Revol form this turn, she gains +5k, so making her a 15k. If you're on Persona, ride 25. If you use Full Blast, that's a nice little number of 40k. But yeah, so you want to see this card as soon as possible. If you can see it off of the grade 1 Youthberk, that's pretty great. If you can see it, you know, as soon as you hit grade 2, pretty great. There's always a way to at least get 2 Youthberk's Revol forms into your soul. Now this is where we see our last 2 flex slots. Decided to go with Schneisel just because he gives out a little bit more power, and his first ability to search the deck is also pretty good. You barely ever use it, but for the rest it's just a body that you can put on the field and safely just have it for your full blast turns. So yeah, to be fair, the new deck amounts slightly hurt Youthberk, so we make do with what we have, and I do think that Schneisel is one of the best options to have for that. Our grade 1s, running Karina at 4 copies. Now her ability is when she's placed on rearguard from deck or discarded during your turn for your write-ups, you can search your deck or drop for a Revol form card. You can add it to hand, and then you put a card from, if you added a card to your hand, you can basically just put a card from hand in the soul, which will probably be your Revol forms. But the handy thing is that she doesn't have to put the card that you searched. So if you have Zest, Gust, or Tempest in hand, you can just easily slot in, search for a full blast and slot in one of those copies. So this is the card that you absolutely want to have in hand as soon as possible so you can use your abilities. It's basically made this deck a possible turn 3 kill deck. So can't complain here. Another card that we really enjoy seeing is Sequana. Basically, she gives you back your drives, so you use her skill to put your drives to 1, and then you gain +1 drive, depending on the sequence. So, and of course she's a 10k if you have a Vanguard with Youth. Can't complain. 10k booster, 10k attacker. Always useful. You can attack with her first, then see what happens. Usually, it's just a handy card to have on the field if you don't immediately have your kill turn, or you can use it to boost your Youthberk with that first swing, whichever one you prefer. But the fact that she gives you back your twin drive, that's all you really need in the end. Of course, for our last non-PG, running 2 copies of the kitty. I like the kitty. Basically, if you have cards from your ride deck into drop or soul, you can put them back into the ride deck, and then if it's on Guardian Circle, it becomes a 20k shield, which is handy. And if it's during your turn, you can look at the top 5 cards and then just call one. If it's during the battle phase, it's called as rest. If it's during the main phase, it's a standing rearguard. Something to fill up your field for that full blast turn. Of course, we're running 3 normal PGs, 1 Elementaria Sanctitude. Don't have a grade 4, so why not run Elementaria Sanctitude? Whichever case, it's handy to have. You don't superior call all that much, so no risk of just suddenly top decking it and having it be a depth card. So that's pretty much that. Quickly going over our triggers. We run 1 OT. I'm currently running the World Original Art for Amartinoa, which gives your rearguards drives. To be fair, honestly, it should probably be the blue OT to get some recursion back. But you deck out anyway, and if you can rush them down, you rush them down. I personally like keeping this one in just for the sheer fun of it. But if I were to take this to a tournament, I'd probably switch it up to the blue OT. 3 normal criticals, 4 of the effect criticals, so a total of 7. Then 7 front triggers, they're extra shield, which is something we desperately need in Youthberk because a lot of our cards are grade 3s or essential pieces. And you deck out. You deck out real fast, so draws are definitely a no-go in this deck, in my opinion. So now last but not least, I'm running 1 copy of the Restander heal because I have a lot of people that run Restanders at our locals. So if you want to run 4 normal heals, that's also fine. I'm teching in 3 normal ones, but we have a lot of Restanding decks. So for that reason, I am running this card, the effect heal. That's pretty much the deck itself. No. Going over a short little combo segment, I suppose. So the thing we can do for our first ride is we discard Carino if we mulligan there, hopefully twice, but you never know for certain. So you get your grade 1, which immediately gives you your Zest, which is now safely tucked in there. You can take a damage, doesn't really matter which one it is. Go for Schneisel, poor guy, can't catch a break. Now, once you go grade 2, you can Soul Blast 1, we'll just decide that we got rid of our second Schneisel. We can Soul Blast 1 to check the top 3. We could get any Youthberk that we want, but the ideal one to get would be your Fregosa, so you can Soul Blast another one to get your second unit out right there. Then you can attack, you can get whatever card you want, you know, and then your opponent will probably try and attack you back. If they don't, we don't really mind, but they probably will at least try to attack you once. You could intercept if you wanted to, so that you can get her back with your grade 2. So in this case, we'll decide that we guarded once. And then of course, once you go to grade 3, we'll discard Tempest in this case. Right up, nice and easy. And of course, now we're pretty golden. We can Counterblast 1, get Fregosa back. Fregosa will Soul Blast that last grade 2. Then you could either get the Tempest from drop, or you could get one from your deck thinning you some more. But now you're ready to have your combo. Of course, what you could also do is you can use your Youthberk skill to discard one, search for another Revol form. In this case, that could be your Full Blast, which you can then use to immediately ride into the combo. Of course, you know, with Youthberk skill, you will also find a unit, hopefully Sequana or a Revol form, and an additional Full Blast, whichever one, but it just gives you more. And then you call at least something here. It can be anything, just to optimize your turn. You only need one additional CB for Full Blast, and we're good to go. That's pretty much how it goes. You aggressively filter your deck, and you make your opponent sweat. That's pretty much it. And, you know, if we didn't have these two cards right here, your grade 1 and 2, I hope it's picking up right. We have some slight technical issues. So if we didn't have these two, this deck would be pretty slow and therefore not that great. But with these two in the deck, it's pretty amazing. Now, it's a bit more bricky since we have the 50 card main deck, and that's pretty much the deck for me. I don't think we have anything else to go over. At least, let me take a moment to say thank you all for watching. We're looking into those shorts still, so once they pop up, you guys will be the first to know, especially if you press that subscribe button right there. And yeah, that's it for me. See you guys in the next one. Stay radiant.